Everyone, my name is Yukabeth, and this is God is Everything podcast. So today we're going to talk about David. David, a man after God's own heart, a man who was favored, defeated Goliath. He was a national treasure, a national hero. He was anointed to be king over Israel at a young age. He lived in the palace, used his skills and talent to play the harp for Saul. I mean, David was just that person. That person that just is very accomplished and has a very promising future. Until David, who once was a national hero, now he's a fugitive. Now he's running for his life. Now he's on the move. He has no home. And Saul is trying to kill him. And so, how does a person go from that space of favor, that space of security, that space of popularity to this space of nothingness? And when that happens to you, how do you manage? How do you manage that season? The Bible says, and Saul's son Jonathan went to David at Horesh and helped him find strength in God. Don't be afraid, he said. My father Saul will not lay a hand on you. You will be king over Israel, and I will be second to you. Even my father Saul knows this. And I really, really love this passage because one, it shows the importance of having someone like Jonathan. Because David was one of the strongs. David was a strong person. He was a leader. He was the king. And a lot of times when you are a leader, you will always have people to pour into. People will always rely on you. But when it's the other way around, it's rare. It's rare to find other people or another person to pour into you. And in this case, David needed Jonathan to pour into him and to remind him that, hey, do not let go of the promise God gave you. You will be king. Everybody knows this. You will be king. And when you look at the story of David, I actually searched up how many years did Saul pursue David? Like, how many years was David on the run? And people agree it was 7 years. There's a couple things that could have happened in the 7 years. One, David could have just gave up. He could have been like, you know what? It's year 2. I'm on the run. I should have been king by now. I should have been way far in my life. I should have been way successful than I am right now. And it looks like nothing is changing. So you know what? I'm just going to give up. I'm just going to accept this. And he could have surrendered to Saul and he could have been killed. That could have happened. He could have been like, wait a minute. Why is my life here in comparison to Jonathan, in comparison to my brothers, in comparison to my friends? Like, how come I'm not as successful? How come I'm still on the run? God, you called me. You chose me. Why is nothing happening? And because David depended on God, he found strength. He found the motivation to keep showing up, to keep moving forward. And I can't even imagine how the devil taunted him, like reminding him that, oh, I thought you were supposed to be king. Oh, I thought you were supposed to, because sometimes, we go through this. We have this life envisioned for us. God has given us, each of us, a promise. And when things don't go accordingly, when things are not lining up, and sometimes we go through that 7 years of nothingness, 7 years of hiding, it's so easy to stay discouraged and it's so easy to start comparing and, doing the negative self-talk. But David kept moving forward. Before he took a step, he will always inquire of the Lord. He will always depend and ask God, God, what should I do? God, where should I go? And what's so interesting is chapter 23 verse 14 says, David stayed in the desert stronghold and in the hills of the desert of Ziph. Day after day, Saul searched for him, but God did not give David into his hand. While David was in the desert, while he was hiding, while, he wasn't ruling, God was negotiating on his behalf. God was protecting him on his behalf. And that's exactly what God is doing for you. He's shifting things for you and he is fighting for you. in ways you don't even see, in ways you will never even understand. Surround yourself with people that will encourage you, that will motivate you. Surround yourself in the presence of God. He will keep you afloat. He will give you the motivation to keep moving forward. He will give you the endurance. He will give you the positive mindset. He will provide everything you need to go through this 7 years of living in the desert of nothingness. So this concludes this episode of God is Everything podcast.